What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Absolute. I'm your host, Ryan Miner, and with me tonight, the crew is back together, guys.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
Right? Mark, you're welcome back, bud. Good to have you back on here.
Happy to be here. Actually, I'm fresh off of visiting the Fantasy Expo in Canton. Had a good weekend there. Talked up the show a little bit to some people, so that was good. And had a nice weekend. It was great meeting you out there. If you met me or said hi to me, it was a great experience.
Nice. How about you, Adam? What's going on with you, bud? How you been?
Good, man. Just excited. The preseason is underway. We get to talk some football tonight. I'm excited. We're going to have a great show. It's always fun to do a live mock. We got lots to talk about.
Exactly. That's right, guys. We have a live mock draft tonight. We are doing a Superflex full-point PPR that involves a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flexes, and then the Superflex on top of that. So, and I think 7 bench spots also, if I'm correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bench spots. 5 bench spots. So it's going to be a fun episode here. It's going to be a long one, guys, but this is going to give everyone a better idea of what goes on with Superflex auction drafts. Kind of give you an idea. Like, your auction draft's not going to go this way, but this is going to help you prepare to understand how others might be drafting. Kind of give you an idea. Just like how Adam's AAV does over there at fffaceoff.com, where you guys can go for all your fantasy football needs, which is where Adam and I always go for all of our fantasy football needs because we both work there. So, and this podcast is brought to you by the Face Off Sports Network. So happy to have it going. All right. We look like we almost have everyone here. We have only one person missing. So that's not bad. And he already said he was going to be late. So how about we start kicking this draft off?
Let's do it.
I love it.
And let me see if I can. All right. Here we go. I should probably turn the sound off on that one.
All right, so I know it's bad etiquette to even ask this, but because we're an advice show, what are we looking at for this? We got the 2 flex and the super flex. What is everybody's strategy going in? I tend to think that I want to flatten my build a little bit. I talk all the time about my nucleus, making sure I have 5 or 6 players. For something like this, I really feel like I want to work hard to try and get that 6th player in my nucleus if I can, and save my budget a little bit more so I can balance out the depth that something like this might, ask for.
Adam, what's your plan of going with tonight?
Oh, I think you guys know my plan. 0 RB.
I'm so scared to do 0 RB. I mean, I'm still thinking I might go. I'm gonna try hero RB in this one, but I'm still gonna see if I get the value on wide receivers. And speaking of value on wide receivers, excuse me.
Ooh.
Oh man,
This is not a value.
How we feeling about How we feeling about Brandon Ayuk?
Oh, boy.
He's not going anywhere. That's what
exactly.
I think.
Thank you, Mark.
This is just a bunch of noise.
Bunch of noise. What about you, Adam? Do you think it's a bunch of noise? Or you really think he's going to Pittsburgh?
I mean, I think it would be great for fantasy if he actually did get traded to Pittsburgh, but yeah, I don't think it's happening. It sounds like the Niners are, have started negotiating again with Ayuk, and he said he wanted to be a 49er. I think it's a lot of just posturing on Ayuk's side, trying to, squeeze as much money out of the Niners as possible. And hey, can't blame him. But no, I don't think he's getting traded. I think he's staying in San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. Because from what I've been reading, because it's hard to believe anything, they've been saying that the money's close with staying with San Francisco. And if the trade was really going to be something that good, he would have already done this a while ago. He would have already been gone.
Yeah.
So it's no big deal.
It would be great for fantasy. I think it would be a great talking point for probably a week or more, just to kind of get the community engaged and just some huge breaking news. But yeah, I don't think he's getting traded.
Speaking of other breaking news, did you guys hear about J.G. McCarthy and meniscus issue.
Yep.
So if it's a trim, I heard it's 4 to 6 weeks out. If it's surgery, it's like months out. So
yeah.
And I just brought that up just because we saw Justin Jefferson being the first player nominated, and he went for $50 still. Are you guys still comfortable going at that high of price, or would you rather pass on it and let it be someone else's issue?
In one QB, that price I'd say is still pretty close to fine for me, but in a Superflex league, that's pretty rich for me. I'd rather spend my money on make sure I have that money on a quarterback first.
Yeah, I think it's a little too high for Jefferson. I'm actually not really worried about his quarterback situation. I think he still is going to produce. The only thing that I worry about with him now is that I don't think the Vikings are going to be all that competitive this year. And if they're not going to be in the hunt for a playoff spot, especially if he gets later into the season, I think they could just sit Jefferson late in games. They may not even play him at all. So in that instance, you're kind of taking a risk. Maybe he's someone that you draft early on and maybe you can trade him away to another manager, but it worries me a little bit. Again, I think he's still going to produce, but I'm a little anxious later on in the season.
Yeah, I'm sorry to feel the same way, but just because like the NFC North is like projected to like the Vikings to be dead last.
Yeah.
So does Jefferson really want to play that hard? Is Sam Darnold really the answer? Is there going to be another quarterback that could be coming into play if the J.J. McCarthy issue is worse than what it really is?
Yeah, I would say in general, if this is like just a few weeks, it doesn't really change the path. I think a lot of people are kind of hedging that if J.J. McCarthy is going to start at all, it's going to be after their bye in week 7. That's sort of in line with when maybe Hawkinson might be coming back. But as far as Justin Jefferson goes, I actually don't think this affects him. He did just get a new contract, right? So it might affect a guy like Hawkinson, who's already on an injury, on a recovery timeline. But I actually think this, unless it's a really long, sustained injury that's out for months, I'd probably still be fine with Justin Jefferson. I don't think there's a reason to think that he wouldn't play, especially if there's. We don't know what's going to happen with the Vikings at this point. I think everyone's kind of assuming that Sam Darnold won't be anything, but I kind of think like they were expecting to have Darnold in there for a while, and J.J. McCarthy was always kind of a developmental quarterback. So you see these past few years that teams are a little more willing to sort of put their fan base's like call to put the rookie in aside and just develop their guy, kind of like you saw in Green Bay. But I'm kind of happy to just see what Darnold is for a while. And honestly, I think Justin Jefferson just being an elite level, an elite level receiver is probably all they can hang their hat on this year. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're still competitive and Justin Jefferson is still playing all year.
That would be nice.
Sorry, guy made me miss my nomination.
What? Sorry. I was getting in a bidding war with Christian McCaffrey, but I couldn't do that. And our Bishop, too, he got Jahmyr Gibbs at $27 with his first running back. And with the hammy injury, what a discount he got on that guy. And then gets Christian McCaffrey as his RB2 or RB1, however you guys want to look at it. But the second running back for $50. So he's off to a solid start with 2 running backs.
Yeah, and I think kind of like with Gibbs and with Jefferson, if there are managers in your draft that are hesitant to kind of pull the trigger, like those 2 guys, you should potentially be able to get for a reasonable value. Jefferson's got the quarterback thing going on. Gibbs has the possibility of a lingering injury. So there is value to be had potentially in your auction drafts with those 2 guys.
Yeah, which is funny too because he says, "Does Gibbs hammy make you nervous?" And the way I look at this is I see it as buy the discount. Like because the media is going to hype things up, make it sound like worse than what it really is, and it could be he just is sidelined until the end of the week and he's fine. So if you have a draft going on right now, I mean, you're getting tremendous value if you're getting him for $27. Mark, do you feel the same way? Like getting him at 27, or would you rather let it be someone else's worry? Because sometimes these hamstrings tend to linger on these players.
Yeah, I hate to see a hamstring injury especially a running back, because there is such a high likelihood of re-injury during the season. So it does concern me quite a bit, and especially since it's so fresh, I think you can see what it's our Bisho too who took Gibbs at $27. I think you might find some scared rooms, right? So if you still believe, I don't have do your thing. I probably will downgrade him a little bit, and he'll just be sort of. I don't know if I'll move him down a tier, but he'll probably move his way to the back of my tier. That's kind of like in the Kyron. I think I have Derrick Henry in there too. So he'll probably move his way sort of further back, but I don't know if he's so. If he's like, I got another nomination. What happened? What happened here? How am I nominating again?
We're moving fast, man. We're not messing around. It's 10 seconds to nominate, so you got to go.
All right. Well, there goes Burrow. Sorry, we were talking about Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, I probably would bump him down, but to be honest, we probably still should have been bidding at $27. Like one of us probably should have been bidding at $27. So you can definitely get a room that might be a little scared of something like that. And if you're a believer, don't feel like this is me saying you can't take a shot on Gibbs if you're getting him at a discount. I just wouldn't pay full price. That's really.
All right, and then we have Isaiah Pacheco, who went for 31. So Isaiah Pacheco at 31 or Jahmyr Gibbs at 27? That's the tough question right now.
I would probably take Pacheco.
Yeah, I'm with you on that right now too, Adam. Like going with Pacheco. Like I love the Detroit offense being like the homer, but we can't forget Dave Montgomery's there.
Yeah.
So that's one reason why I'm kind of lower on Gibbs than most. But yeah, and I would definitely put Pacheco ahead of Gibbs.
Yeah, well, and Pacheco too. Like I feel he is. I mean, who's going to take touches away from the guy, right? I don't think he's getting like 25 touches a game, but there's really no one on the Chiefs who is going to threaten him, I think, for those running back touches. So he's kind of like one of the last guys who could be like a true bell cow for his team. And again, you just want pieces of the Kansas City offense. He's probably not going to score as many rushing touchdowns as, say, like a Derrick Henry, but the opportunities are going to be there, and he's in a great offense. And again, no one is taking touches away from him. So I'd rather have Pacheco for 31 than I would Gibbs for 27, but that's just me.
Wow. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up my tiers. All right, within my gold tier, I have Jahmyr Gibbs is at the top behind the platinum tier, which ends with Bijan and Brees. So let's just play. Who you'd rather have. Like, say their dollar values are equal.
Love
it. All right. So Jahmyr versus Saquon.
Saquon for me.
Yeah, give me Saquon.
Okay. Kyron Williams.
Or Gibbs?
Yep.
Kyron.
As long as Kyron stays healthy, yeah, I'm all over Kyron, because Kyron has that 95% touch hold where Gibbs is sharing a backfield.
Yep.
Easy Kyron for me, too. Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
Taylor.
ETN.
It's a wishy-washy.
I might go Gibbs there.
It's a little that's close. That's close.
I'm not a huge believer in ETN either, but I think I still might take him. Pacheco, or we said Pacheco. Yes, we're in on Pacheco. Yeah. Last one, Devon Achane.
No, I would go Gibbs on that one. I love the home run ability with Achane, but like I just don't see the hype of him being there as like finishing as that RB1. I see RB1 week winning weeks coming your way, but I see a headache more than anything.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. but I feel like it's still a pretty lightning offense that produced two pretty good running backs there. So I actually kind of have them right there. I'd probably put him again. They'd be in the same tier. They'd be very close for me, but it would be probably right around Devon Achane. I actually think I'd take Josh Jacobs too, maybe. Although that's I know that's probably that's a hot take for some people, but I probably would take Josh Jacobs too over Gibbs at this point until I sort of felt until we get a little further away from the news at least and hear some more about his injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like the speculation is perfect right now for draft, and especially for drafters to buy the dip, as I always like to say, because you're truly buying the dip. There's no ADP drop. This is actually like cost of the dollar drop, because before we're seeing them pushing closer to 40, 45, and I've seen them go down here at 27. Seems like quite the steal right now.
Yeah.
All right, and then our first tight end finally came off the board, Dalton Kincaid at $15. Now you guys already know how high I am on Dalton Kincaid. Adam, are you backing me up on Dalton Kincaid, or would you pass on that 15?
I would be interested to see where guys like Andrews and McBride and Pitts and Kittle kind of fall for their price in this draft. I do like that price for Kincaid. It's probably right at the very edge of where I'm going to draft him at for $15. But the opportunity is massive. I think, what did Buffalo lose, like 240 something targets? I mean, it's just nuts. So yeah, I think for 15, I'm not in on the price for Kincaid, but it's close. I don't think I would go like 17 or 18, but 15, 16, I'm in.
And the quarterbacks are already going high. Like looking at Jalen Hurts 49, Joe Burrow 38, Patrick Mahomes 50, CJ Stroud 34, Josh Allen 48. So the top quarterbacks are already starting to come off the board here. How we feel about the top quarterbacks going on, especially like Joe Burrow dropping down to 38. Does the news of Jamar Chase not showing up scare you guys away from him, or would you guys be willing to pay up the $38 to get Joe Burrow?
I can only imagine he's getting his contract at this point, so I'm not that worried about it. It hasn't seemed like a contentious battle, like if you're looking at it compared to like the CD Lamb Jerry Jones saga, which I don't. This is one of my long-standing issues with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. How can you look at this guy, try to handle his team and just be and feel good about it? I don't see that with the Bengals. I think that their front office has been pretty smart as of now. They needed to get the quarterback done. And from there they'll go on to Chase. I can't imagine him not playing or sitting out. I can't imagine them not giving him a contract. So it's obviously there's no sure thing, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and what's the saying, deadlines spur action? So I think the closer we get to the season, the whole CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase thing is probably just going to resolve itself. So no, I don't have much hesitation with those guys. Chase is going to be a locked in, wide receiver one. So with Burrow though, I always tend to prioritize quarterbacks that give me a little bit more rushing upside, and Burrow just doesn't really have that. I think, especially coming off the injuries that he's had. So I like him more in 6-point touchdown leagues. But overall, no, I don't have any issues with him or Chase. I think the deals get done.
Nice. And speaking of Chase, these wide receivers right now are going flat across the line. Basically $50. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, $50.
So this happens sometimes in your auction rooms, but I feel like actually the Bijan, the top three running backs, Bijan, Brees, and McCaffrey, plus the all the top tier receivers that have all gone. So St. Brown, Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Hill. I feel like that's a little too pricey for most of them. So I'm actually kind of expecting that we'll see prices go down later on in the draft for those positions. Yeah, I like the players and I like these prices for like one quarterback, not necessarily.
Yeah, that's why I'm still sitting here with no players. I'm the only one left out of this 12 teams that does not have anyone. Because, like you said, Bark, like the prices are just a little bit steep, and I'm like, I'm not ready to spend that kind of money yet.
Yeah, I think we'll see, especially with the wide receiver prices. I think they're going to start to plummet here pretty soon.
I hope so, because that's part of my strategy here.
Yep. I mean, look,
good
Puka just went for 34, so there you go.
Yeah, and Puka Nacua, like I like him, but he still scares me. It's like I'm still Team Cooper Kupp on this.
Yep.
So everyone should probably catch on to that by now. That I really have Cooper Kupp later, cheaper rate than Puka Nacua now. But we got AJ Brown going now.
I'm still a believer in Puka. I don't think his injury is going to be a huge issue. And I really don't see anything wrong with you. I honestly just think this is reason to bring Cooper Kupp up higher in your rankings. I have him in my gold tier still, but he was a little further down. But now that the season get closer, I actually feel like this is the time of year where all my veterans that, you might worry about some just like age and just like history related injuries coming into play. If Coop is still healthy, I don't see why we can't have, I'm not saying that I would do it, but you can have those two guys in your top 15 and it wouldn't be the end of the world.
No. And here I go. I just get AJ Brown for $47. A little bit more than I wanted to spend on a wide receiver one, but he is one that I feel more comfortable going in with at this point with a wide receiver one, where after this I almost start feeling wide receiver twos are going to be heavier, like in my tier here. Travis Kelce is up next right now. He's about to push 20. There he goes, $20 right now. I think, to be honest with you guys, I really think he actually bounces back.
Be great for fantasy.
I've never had him not as my tight end one, to be honest. So I was kind of happy to buy the dip in the off season, and now it's kind of just like fine. If I don't I'm just kind of trying to take the value when you're always trying to take the value when you can. That's why it's good to have your own rankings and know your values, because when values change, you need to change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Kelce goes for 26, which we talked about a few episodes ago about like the price of tight end. The price of tight end's gotten down quite a bit this year in our mocks that we've been doing. Like, I don't think, we've had a couple of times where they've gone over 30, but the majority of the time they're under 30, which is about half the price of what Kelce was going for last year, considering everyone was basically taking him as like a wide receiver one price.
Yeah, and Superflex, it's not so bad in Superflex. 26 maybe getting closer to the higher end, but in one QB it's not so bad. But 26 might be getting to the higher end in the Superflex mocks. But again, Kelce's a good player. He could easily beat that price.
Yeah. And I said it, I think, when we were discussing tight ends in the episode. It's like the position is just so deep now that I think that it's sort of driving the prices down a little bit. Before, when there were just fewer options, when it was just like Kelce and Gronk or Jimmy Graham, like that was it. Like that was the tight end landscape. Now there's just so many more options available, and there's so many good quality options available later in the drafts. It's not a position that you have to necessarily get that top tight end anymore. Like you can wait, and the value I think we'll see later on in the draft will be just like absurdly good.
Yeah, hope so, because the prices still are so really high right now. Like we've gone through, let's see, a few rounds. We've gone through 24 picks already, a couple rounds, and the majority, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 12 teams are about at $100 up to spend. Mm-hmm. So they've already gone through half their budget, and we've only been going for 20 minutes here.
Yeah.
So it's amazing
Should
like
be-
how
should be a
fast like that
fast
budget
one, then.
goes. Yeah. Well, it always starts out fast. Everyone's guns a blazing. Money spending, and then all of a sudden, no one's got money anymore. So then, what are they doing? They're sitting back and waiting for everyone else to spend their money to catch up.
Yeah,
Saquon
that's
Barkley.
typical. That's typical in an auction. Like once the auction starts, everyone's coming out guns blazing, and then like you said, Ryan, people start to realize that I've spent half my budget or close to it. I better slow down, and then the prices just plummet. So that's definitely something for managers to take into consideration.
Yeah, I'm gonna see how this team goes. Like with the way I'm trying to build it, because I have AJ Brown, and that's it. So I'm curious to see how this is gonna go. Mark, you have Josh Allen, which seems to be like one of your favorite quarterbacks to get in every draft we do.
And Lamar.
To be honest, if they're not going to go for $50, I'm going to take them all day. Is kind of how.
And Lamar Jackson. I forgot that.
So, like Lamar, I feel like probably should have been closer to 48. Josh Allen, I think, should be 50 or more probably in a league like this. So right out of the gate, I told you that I was going to jump. I was going to make sure that what did I say? That I flatten my build. I don't know how flat it's going to look right now. We're still working that out. But actually, I feel like the prices of receiver and running back right now, and the way that they kind of exploded, really made me feel like I could probably spend this 42 on Lamar, and later on, I might be able to get some deals at receiver and running back.
Got a bold strategy from Cerebral Assassin here. Got Kelsey and Laporta.
I was just looking at too. I'm like, what the heck is he doing?
He likes both those guys apparently.
But I mean,
if it were tight end premium, that would be one thing, but it's not.
Exactly, and that's what I was just gonna say. Like, this is not a tight end premium type of mock draft. So, but to stack the two tight ends like that, I mean, he's gonna be weaker at wide receiver at this point, or possibly could be a weaker wide receiver. But he has, we could say, two of the top three tight ends locked up.
Right. He can. What he could be doing is just strengthening his position with the top tight ends, right? So there will be less people with good tight ends on their roster, and that makes his advantage larger in some cases. But it's going to depend on how much he gets back at receiver. Just landed Olave. I imagine he's got a pretty decent nucleus if we're looking at it. I'd like to see what his second quarterback looks like. But it could work. It's not what I'd necessarily do in just a regular PPR, but it's they're still top in my head. They're still top 50 players either way.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but it's like you said, Mark. It's probably not the type of strategy that I'm going to employ, especially in a non-tight end premium league. But I mean, on paper, he's got a great team. I don't hate it, but I think in a PPR league for your flex, I always prioritize receivers over running backs or tight ends. But again, I don't hate the build of his team. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of his team kind of fills out, because he's only got about $67 left. But I don't hate it. I just am not in love with it.
Right. And here I go, getting Kyler Murray again, because I love drafting Kyler Murray this year. I couldn't pass up the deal of $40.
That price is great. That price is excellent.
And Adam, you nominated Jonathan
honestly,
Taylor.
Great QB1 to have.
Exactly. That's why I took him. I'm like, all right, got that part of the QB1 down. Let's see what we can do next year.
Ayuk.
That's right. Going Brandon Ayuk. Let's see if anyone jumps on the news of him or the hype of him. I'm thinking, does he stay with San Francisco and sign, or does he go to Pittsburgh? And what's the trade for Pittsburgh going to be? Like, I feel like it's going to be a player for player. I don't think it's going to be just for draft picks, because San Francisco's so close. And if they have Ayuk, I mean, that team's pushing for a title again. They're pushing to go back to the Super Bowl. But if you're pushing and Ayuk wants out, couldn't you guys see like George Pickens coming back somehow to like San Francisco as part of that trade? Just because I feel like having two alphas like that wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Pittsburgh would be how old is Ayuk? I don't even know. But Pickens is like super young. I don't know if that would be something that they would give up, but maybe. I mean, the terms of the deal have been agreed to. Like both teams have said, yeah, we're good on the deal. Now it's just a matter of contract, with the Niners.
At least that's what the media tells us. Mean,
during the whole like Ayuk to Cleveland thing, like that was Amari Cooper, and I think like a draft pick. So I don't know what Pittsburgh would be giving up in return. I don't know if they would give up on Pickens this early, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening, so I don't even really like speculating on stuff like this. But I like, to be honest, I think it doesn't make as much sense if Pickens goes, though, right? Like, I feel like they still, like, they might be getting a better receiver in Ayuk, but like not much. Like, I don't mean to say it like that because he is much better, but I mean like comparatively, your contract that you're going to have to pay for Ayuk is kind of offset by the fact that Pickens is still under his rookie deal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me for Pickens not to continue as part of the Steelers.
It seemed like something that they'd want back. Like they seem to love wide receivers. Is Ricky Pearsall the answer? I mean, I haven't heard really too much about him lately.
But he's injured right now.
Yeah. But I thought he was back playing. Or is he still out?
I think he's still out. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I really do think that Ayuk is staying in San Francisco. But hopefully we'll have some, like, clarity by, tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Anyone have any drafts coming up this weekend or anything like that?
I've got one on
Sunday. Still a little early for most of my.
Yeah, I've got one on Sunday.
I think my next one is like the day. It's like the day before the Thursday game, which is like my favorite league to get prepared for because it's an IDP league. And you only get to start one running back and two wide receivers. So it's almost like a true starting lineup of like a tight end. And like you play defensive line, linebackers, corner.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's not an auction draft, but it's a redraft, but it's a lot of fun because you get to use different strategies on that one because the scoring is so different between each defensive player. It's not the same like for tackles. Mm-hmm. So it makes it almost balance out where it's kind of harder to figure out which one you want to get. Drake London at 29 right now. Or 28. I'm sorry, 28. Does he go for it? And he goes for it. Drake London, $28.
Going back to Ayuk, I don't think people should be too scared to continue drafting him. That $25 range, I think, is still fine in a super flex.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it was cheaper, it'd be nicer always, right? But I mean, for the most part, as long as he's on a team that you feel confident, I don't see why he wouldn't still produce like a wide receiver one. So I think he's, you still have to rank him like that while he's at San Francisco. Or at least a top 15 kind of level player. I don't see many people taking him out of their top 15. So I still think you can draft him with confidence. I actually don't think it really changes his fantasy value all that much. It makes Debo's value, Kittle's value maybe a little higher. Pickens' value maybe a little lower, but nothing really changes for me for Ayuk.
No, I mean, I still like him, but I still love Deebo Samuel more. I feel like this is going to be a Deebo Samuel bounce back here.
I love Deebo, too.
I'm liking the Kincaid for $15 a lot more now.
Yeah, he's looking like a steal right now, considering that Trey McBride just went for 18.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta prior to that went for 21. Travis Kelce for 26. So, yeah, being the fourth highest tight end. Now here comes a good quarterback, Caleb Williams. Like he looked pretty good this weekend. I mean, he didn't play that many drives, but he still looked pretty good. And here he is. He's almost pushing $25 right now. Do you guys trust him, or do you guys prefer to let him be someone else's headache? I mean, that team is freaking loaded, especially for a QB who went 101.
I don't really want him to be my QB1.
Yeah.
I'm happy to roll the dice at QB2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. Yeah,
or I might want to try and get like 3 like he's kind of going in the QB1, back end QB1, high end QB2 area in a lot of drafts. So if you want to draft maybe 2 and then even just like a third that's still maybe in the top 20, I think that might be a decent strat. I think you want a little more depth with Caleb Williams still. Like I wouldn't try and put all my eggs in that basket to start the year.
No, I'm not ready to do that yet either.
Yeah, for me, he's kind of a weird one for me because I don't want him as my QB1, but I think he's too expensive. Go for a QB2 if that makes sense. Like I don't want to spend a ton on my Superflex quarterback. That's just my personal preference. Like I'm not. What did he go for? 29. Yeah, I want to spend like half of that on my Superflex. But I don't want him as my QB1. So he's kind of like in a dead zone for me, if that makes any sense.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in Daniels a little later and Kyler Murray a little earlier.
Yeah.
And also Brock Purdy pretty much around where he goes to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Brock Purdy still has that rushing upside. Like everyone seems to forget that. Mm-hmm. He can run the ball when he needs to. I mean, he ran on the Lions. That's what kind of saved their butts in the NFC Championship game. So just if you think he's just a pocket passer, you guys are wrong. All right, Derrick Henry, here we go. As we were talking about earlier about, this or that compared to Jahmyr Gibbs. And let's see, so Gibbs at 27.
Oh, yeah, Henry's more expensive.
Oh, yeah, he's going to go way above that. So he's already surpassed Jahmyr Gibbs' price. Are you guys fine with that, or do you guys still really have Gibbs that price now?
I guess it depends where he actually gets priced first.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
I mean, he's already gone over him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is going over him. And it's hard. It's hard to know. It's hard to know if he's going to be there to start the season. If he's going and starting the season and there's like no setbacks and everything, it's that's fine. I think this is a time right now where I might be more interested in just fading him. Again, if I might spend a little more on Henry, but also like I'm not really the guy who spends that much money on a running back in the first place. So it's right now I would say if you're gonna do it, I'd still probably go Henry.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Henry at 32 or Gibbs at 27. I'd spend the $5 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
put...
Henry has the possibility to like lead the NFL in like touchdown rushes, in rushing touchdowns. Like that's a distinct possibility. Lamar doesn't really run too much around the goal line. I think people kind of like forget about that. So Henry could very easily get like 12, 15 rushing touchdowns this year. I mean, I don't think that would shock anybody.
No.
And for the price, yeah, I'm taking Henry for 32 versus Gibbs for 27.
Etienne at 27, Kyron still at 26. I think it's hard to press the button on Jahmyr, like to keep bidding on Jahmyr Gibbs if you're seeing that coming. I mean, I know again, it's every room is a little different, but if Kyron's going over 26, Etienne for 27, Saquon for 27, I'm happy to take any of those guys first.
And then Sabbath he said, my first dynasty startup auction, I started with good value on Jefferson and A.J. Brown for 77 total, but then overpaying for running back and tight end, end up with a pretty bad depth. Lesson learned. Well, the funny thing about like dynasty is you don't really look at depth. Like if the way you play is, do you win? Do you play to win now or do you play to win later? And that's the hardest part we had to figure out in Dynasty, especially when it comes to auctions, because that's where I feel like your part sheet is the most valuable thing. Because you almost want to have that budget where it's set, but you're willing to go a little over it here and there, but you don't want to overdo it, and then you're like, oh man, I have nothing to fall back on. Now, Adam, I know you don't do much in Dynasty, but Mark, don't you agree? Like when you're trying to do this Dynasty, like you almost kind of want to like build a little bit of depth, kind of have like a little bit of a pillow, a little bit of a cushion to kind of prepare you for year 2, year 3.
It was a Superflex league.
He just said his startup auction. That's all he said, and there was nothing about Superflex.
Okay.
He just say start out value.
Well, if he's, I mean, right now I've like what did he say? 77 between AJ Brown and Jefferson or Chase. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, between Jefferson and Brown.
Okay, Jefferson and Brown. So, I mean, I think that price is pretty good. I think those are good young receivers. If they are a 1 QB league, I think you actually have a huge steal, and there's a little more room for error and wiggle room that you can go through a little better. In general, I like to play to win. Like I don't play Dynasty to rebuild. I rebuild when my team says it's ready to rebuild. And not that I'm saying you don't sometimes value depth, but you're not going to overpay for depth. Or you're not going to overpay for young players. I think we talked about that a lot in our Dynasty episode. We're not going to overpay for young players, and we're not going to just take that. We're not going to pay that extra tax. So I think those are 2 studs. I think AJ Brown, he's probably got 2, 3, 4 good years left in him. So he can compete for you and contend for you. And, I'd have to see the rest of the roster and if it's Superflex or not, but it seems like a pretty good start.
Oh yeah, he did say Superflex now.
Oh, it is a Superflex? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's pretty you could hope to maybe pay a little bit less, but I think that's probably right on par on what you're paying. Do you have quarterbacks? Is he in the chat?
Yes.
Sabbath, who are your quarterbacks? Shout them out.
The awkward silence as we wait. Oh, thanks for the analysis.
All right. Well, if you get to a Sabbath, send us your quarterbacks.
Yeah. And then here's another good one from Matthew G. Got my first auction draft this Friday. $200 budget. It's Superflex League, and I'm keeping Bijan for $41.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm still happy. I mean, I don't really keep running backs often, but in keeper leagues, running backs often get scooped up, right? They don't really change hands all that often. So it's hard for you to find a running back. So $41 for Bijan, I think that's great, and probably the savings is going to help you find some pretty decent depth somewhere else. So good pick.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's a few dollars under what his AAV is right now in Superflex, so I do like that. That's a fairly decent bargain. I don't know if his league is one that increases the price from year after year, but for right now, 41 for Bijan, that is a good deal.
It seems like it's a dynasty startup, so I would imagine it's not like a contract league. So I think that's pretty decent. But he got I'm looking at the comments here. We could pull it up. It looks like he got Burrow. He got Geno, Daniels, Rodgers, Darnold. I actually think that's not a bad platoon, even in the dynasty. I know it doesn't sound great in dynasty leagues, but Geno's going to play for a few more years. Daniel Jones has at least a little upside, and he's going to start the season. Darnold's going to start the season. Rodgers is going to play this season. So you can figure it out from there, and I think that's pretty good for me.
Yeah, I like it a lot. All right.
You got to take a picture of that team and send it to us, Sabbath.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely send it to us. And then also does it have rookie picks too? Do you guys do like a rookie snake draft after that year to year, or do you guys do like an auction bid? That's what I'm always curious to hear. What all these auction leagues do when they do auction startups? Do they keep it at auction, or do they actually go back to snake at the end?
I'm less of a fan of the auction bids when it's just a regular startup. Generally, I still rather have a snake draft or like a linear draft in my rookie picks. You know what I mean?
So yeah, the more I was looking at, I was like, you know what, Mark's right. I would be more for the linear than the auction. I mean, the auction one would be kind of fun, but then like you have people that basically overbid on all these first round picks, and then the draft isn't as fun anymore as compared to having a linear draft with everyone trading picks and stuff like that.
Well, you can give everyone like a dollar amount. Like, I don't understand. It feels like a lot of work to go through all that and like give every pick you would have a dollar value. Then you have your budget you could pick, and that will help you bid on, whoever is there. And to be honest, I feel like it would just make the bottom half of the draft less valuable. So now I'm kind of slowly talking myself into it. So, I tend to think that all that money wants to go on the top of those rookie picks. So you might find some nice, next Puka Nakua type gems in there because people won't be bidding on the bottom tier guys, but the top tier you probably should expect will go for a ton.
Exactly.
And if you're gonna do a draft like that, just make it a salary cap league. It's just better. It's more fun. It's more work. That's true, but it's way more fun.
It's well worth the work, right?
Exactly. We talked about it. It's the ultimate GM experience. Like that's what I'm looking for when I'm playing fantasy football. Is I want to be the GM. So, you have a rookie draft. Our rookie draft has cascading values for all the picks, but it's still a linear draft. And there's nothing better than sort of bidding on that free agency class. It's like it's a different crop every year, right? Like just based on the contracts that you would make for your teams, it just adds that extra level of intrigue when not everyone is available every year, but a good amount are available. Your needs are different. Every other team's needs are different. The player pool is different. It makes for a lot of intrigue. It becomes, I don't know a single person who plays like an auction, like a salary cap league, that it's not like in the front of their mind like all the time, because you have to think about how you can sort of circumvent the cap, as your players get more expensive. You have to figure out how you can compete when maybe you don't have a lot of money to spend in the free agent, auction. And in general, it just, there's so much more to think about. So I understand if you don't really want that. Like, you should have just regular fantasy leagues. But I feel like if you have one of these, I promise you, all that obsession that most of us have for fantasy football, it all gets funneled right to that league because it's just so much. It's so much to think about, and it's so exciting to play.
It's not, yeah, like, and I've seen many people in our comments even ask about joining one with us, and I'm like, I am almost tempted to even do this, but I almost be like tempted to do it like mid-season startup, just to see how it goes from there.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that, and then we could still have a rookie draft next year.
Exactly. That's what I want. Like 2 drafts still.
Damn.
I
looked up at him and you stole him from me.
Got you sleeping.
You wanted Devonta Smith?
I had the bid in, and then you got me talking, Ryan. So I know what this is. You two are in cahoots, working against me.
Plan all along.
Good, nice pickup, nice work.
It's a system we're working on, so it worked out. Good job, Adam. Way to snipe him out of it. But the teams actually aren't looking bad. Like we have Be More Like Moses with Jared Goff, Breece Hall, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Draft Hustle has Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Kyle Pitts, and like this is what I love about auctions is because like you see some of these players' names and they're like, there's no way you can get that in your draft, but it's like an auction draft. This is how it works. You can get any player you want, just how much you're willing to spend on getting them.
And it's funny how I've been kind of hamstrung. And it's funny how quick money goes out the door. Now, Ryan, you've got the most money at this point, so you've got control. You can pretty much buy whoever you want at this point. So that's a nice feeling to have. But I'm still in my nucleus buying phase because there are still nucleus worthy players out there. So I still have a little money that I'm looking to spend there. And now that the prices are going down, and once I can get Ryan out of the way, possibly, then maybe I can come back in, and there'll still be a handful of players left that I can round out the rest of my nucleus. And honestly, I feel like if I need to go a little weaker at either running back or receiver, I feel like the two mobile quarterbacks gives me the ability to win just about any week.
Oh, let's see how this goes. So the bid for DJ Moore, do I get him at 22?
Yeah, I think you do.
I think so too.
Boom.
Bam, got him. So I got DJ Moore as my wide receiver too at $22. Not bad value in my mind.
There you go. And now you're only $7 ahead of me, so I feel like I can work with that. I'm good with that.
And we got the same amount of players. We each have 3.
There you go.
You just have your quarterback. I had just I still need everything. I still need running back. Still need tight end. I still need another quarterback here. Ooh, Jalen Wright now is on the board, and people are probably pushing this hype because of what he did in the preseason. He went for $4. Which isn't much, but it was more than the dollar he was going for.
In a super flex league like this, though, I feel like that's kind of a lot. Comparatively, when we get down to the end of where Jalen Wright normally goes, I think that might be a little higher than you want him to go. And who nominated? Did the person who nominated him get him?
Yeah, Roto Fanatic got him. So he has Devon A-Chain and Jalen Wright as his running backs. Mind you, his icon is a Miami Dolphin.
I was gonna say,
$3 ain't terrible, but you might. Later on, if you feel like you're missing a hole, you might want that $3 back, or at least a couple of those dollars back. But do what you like. That's. I still like the player. It's just I'd probably just spend $1.
Exactly. Yeah, like he'd be something when I'd try to. I mean, if I not made him now and someone said 2, I'd be like, you know what? You go and have that $2 issue because I don't want it. But if I get him for $1, I'll take him for $1. Anything outside of that, I'm okay. Because then, before you know it, he's gonna be one of those rookies that you drop early because some waiver wire player comes out and you're like, oh man, I gotta get him no matter what. So who you dropping? Someone that's not starting.
Well, and notice that Roto Fanatic is a Dolphins fan. I think we pointed that out, and like that's if just a tip out there to auction drafters. Like if you happen to notice someone's got a logo of a team and they seem to be drafting like players from that team, like it's possible you might be able to push up some prices on some guys just because they're fans of that team. I'm not saying that's what happened with Roto Fanatic, but I've seen that happen where someone is a fan of a team and they just draft players from their favorite team and they end up blowing their budget on like 3 guys because they got to have those guys on their favorite team.
But hey, if you had to have those guys, do it.
He's got some pretty good prices though, so I'm not gonna like get too upset about it. I think Nico there was a really nice pickup.
That's why you should go for it, dude. I thought you were put another $1 on him, Mark, and take him there.
You
thought about it,
but I did think about it. I did, but I feel like I can I feel like there's still a few more guys that I'm happy to take that made me say no for my wide receiver 2.
Nice.
My 25 on Ayuk told me no, you cannot. So I said, all right, I won't.
Oh, and what I forgot to mention too earlier in the episode is Listener League. I have a wheel of names already out there ready to go. So we will be doing that after the show. So for all you people who gave us the word or gave us a secret word, you guys are all on the list. If you gave it to us more than once, every time you gave it to us, you're on that list. So if you gave it to us all 4 times, you have your name on the list 4 times. So you have a better chance of winning than most. And there was actually 3 people who listened to all 4 episodes and came right away, right with the word. So
nice.
I'll see them in there.
If they don't make it, it's going to be soul crushing, though. So I feel like if you gave me all 4 words, I don't mind just putting you in. So
yeah.
That's just me, though.
Well, that's no fun.
It's true. It's no fun.
I mean, it can't be like the NFL.
It'll create this
no
legacy story. Next year, they're going to be dying to get into the Listener League because they didn't get it this year. I mean, it would be a pretty good origin story for whoever it happens to.
Ooh,
yeah, give me George
like
Kittle. Oh, I love that. I love that value right there. I could not pass it up. I was like, oh,
you got me talking again.
Yes, Adam, you got him talking again.
Yep.
You both get me talking. That's the problem.
See, Mark, this is why you got to have 2 computers going at the same time. I
do have 2 computers going. I got my 2 computers and my phone right now, just making sure that I'm on top of this.
Oh, maybe get a 3rd one.
Maybe a 4th.
Or a 4th. Yeah, you maybe need a big screen TV like hooked up to it. That way, then you can always keep constantly clicking on it.
I'm still feeling okay about my draft, so I'm not. You can have George Kittle. It's fine.
That's okay because you sold Sabbath on salary cap leagues right now.
I'm telling you, Sabbath, you're not going to be disappointed. But also, the problem with it is the people who want to do it are also the people that probably have to put the league together, and that is work. But if you know how to spreadsheet, it's not that bad. You know, if you care enough, like honestly, like you're gonna care enough about the league that eventually it just won't be. You can make the time. But also, if you find a good, like if you really want to pay for like MFL to do it, they will track it for you. I just do mine free on Sleeper, so I got to put a little work in, and I'm happy to do that for my league mates.
Aw. Free on Sleeper. Yeah, like
so I can beat them.
Everything. Beat them and take their money?
Yeah, exactly. Like I did last year, if any of you are listening.
Yeah, you went 0 RB, right? And that's when you had on every single one of your 0 RBs?
Yes, that was the year I had with Mostert, Kyron, Moss. So that really helped out in a 14-teamer for sure.
Yes, you're like, haha, suckers.
Are we all doing 0 RB tonight, the 3 of us? Because it doesn't seem like we have an RB.
No, we don't have any running backs, though. This is the longest I think I've gone without drafting a running back, so we've been recording for almost an hour, and I would usually have 1 or 2 running backs already. And I almost feel like I'm following your guys' loophole of the whole 0 RB right now.
Hey, you know what? Just like honestly, what I would say when I do these is like get to that point where you're a little uncomfortable, and then just like see how you feel when the price. You know what I mean? Like you can always pull the ripcord and draft one, right? Like just see how you feel with a little bit of a, something a little cheaper.
What we're going on here? I mean, we're bidding on Cooper Kupp, one of my guys. But I don't think I'm not going to get him at that price. I'll let someone else have him. You're welcome.
Yeah, we were just saying that he should be top 15, so you would bid him up too high. That's what we wanted.
And I did bid him up too high. I got him up. He sold for 26, so still got DJ Moore cheaper, but I had to pay more for AJ Brown. I'll take the hit. Stephon Diggs, here we go. I remember talking about him last time, and I'm still hesitant on that whole entire offense. Just because everyone seems to be in on it, and it seems like anytime we're in on an offense, that's when they collapse. AKA the New York Jets last season. So let's see how this actually pans out. Especially when you got Tank Dell there. He was the one that was catching touchdowns in the preseason. It wasn't Stephon Diggs.
$13, I'll take it. I think that's not that I'm saying he's like the number one or whatever, but I mean $13 he doesn't have to be the number one. He can just be a productive guy, and I'm sure he'll have plenty of usable games this year.
Yeah, like you got great value on him. I like that. I like that price.
I still stand by what I said before with Houston's receiving core. I think that Dell is being overvalued in auctions, and I think Diggs is being undervalued. The data backs up that Dell is mostly just going to be used in 3 wide receiver sets, and it's going to be Diggs and Collins on the outside. Dell just wasn't used last year in 2 wide receiver sets much at all. So if I'm drafting any wide receiver on Houston, it's going to be Collins, Diggs, and Dell last.
So I just feel like I'm probably the most in on Dell of all of us. He's far down the list, but he's still in my gold tier. Actually, all 3 of these receivers are, because I feel like there's so much that can change now with this new offense. I think in general they had a lower pass attempt share. They get a guy like Stephon Diggs. They already knew they had a good player in Dell, and he might, maybe they're trying to keep him from getting hurt. But I also think that it could be a very efficient passing offense, and for that, I think it might be a little messy if you're not doing a best ball. So you want to hopefully get them. Like, you can get Diggs sometimes as your wide receiver 3. You can get Dell as your wide receiver 3 sometimes. Yeah. So if that's the case, I'm happy to draft any of those guys, really.
Yeah, I think Dell is being drafted more like a wide receiver 2, and I think the data shows that he's probably going to be closer to a wide receiver 3, but the offense is going to be high powered. I just worry how they're going to utilize Dell in their sets, because I think he's going to be primarily utilized in the slot in three wide receiver sets, and I just don't think that's going to leave a lot of opportunity for him when they just go into their 2 wide receiver sets. It'll be interesting to see at the end of the year. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, no, it's a hard one to crack. Like, honestly, I think that's why so many people are into CJ Stroud in general, and that I think that makes a lot of sense. But I also, again, Tank Dell for $11, right? Like, here you go. So like, I'll take that all day. I feel like it might be a little more volatile for some, at least at appearance level, but getting 2 of those guys, I feel like, that's getting 2 of them for $25. I'm still happy with that being my wide receiver 2 and 3.
Yeah, then the prices were right on. Like, those were good values for both those guys.
Absolutely.
I figured that we were talking about it, and I figured, hey, why not throw them out and see how everybody reacts to it.
See how everyone really feels?
Yeah, exactly.
Just like how everyone feels about James Cook right now. He's at 16. Let's see how high he gets. I like James Cook, but it's just like, he's not the running back I want to own in Buffalo. The only running back I really want to own in Buffalo is Josh Allen. Yeah. Because he's guaranteed the goal line touches.
Yeah, I'm pretty out on Cook.
Yeah, I think we were like, last time when you and I talked to Adam about it. I think you and I were both like way out on him. Like, yeah, I don't see him finishing top 12.
I'm pretty out on him as well. I mean, again, he's being drafted highly, and I'm not drafting a lot of running backs in that area. But if I am drafting them, he's not one that I'm targeting. Yeah.
There's still a lot of good players out there too. Like, the draft's about, I'd say, halfway. Starting lambs are almost halfway done, halfway filled. Like, some of us are still missing a QB2. Per usual, us 3 right now. Well, actually, not per usual. Unusual, I don't have a running back. Per usual, you 2 don't have a running back. So I think I'm almost following the trend right now.
It's fine. Hey, you know what? There's plenty of room for everyone down here.
Well, but I'm also looking at the running backs that are still available. There's still plenty of good running backs out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right. That's why I tell you to wait. You know, if you keep like eventually it's gonna, you're gonna keep falling and you'll find a spot where it's like, okay, I can't wait any longer. I think that's kind of like that's where you go. That's how you know.
Right. And it's like, and once again, I'm controlling the money on the room. I have the most amount again, as Mark keeps bidding. I'm gonna keep trying to tell him to bid. Keep bidding. You got to get Evan Ingram. You need Evan Ingram. You love Evan Ingram.
I need him. I gotta get him.
There you go. You got him.
Hey, you know what? Again, I said that I like to, right now it's a 75% of my budget nucleus, but it's off 6 players. So I'm feeling really good about that. And again, I don't like to spend up too much on my bench players in general. I like the firepower in the front of my roster, and I like to hopefully piecemeal it together and depend on my waiver wire to help me out the rest of the way. So I'm feeling pretty good about this build. I have 3 receivers I'm confident in. I have my last tight end and Evan Ingram in my top, my second tier below the elite tier. And really I feel pretty good about this right now.
I'm gonna take Superior TG out of this game. He can have Kenneth Walker for $18. That leaves him $7 left. That's the only thing I like to do too. Like sometimes I like to see, as we're bidding, who's bidding and what their max dollar value. Because a lot of times I can say, all right, if their max value is $20-some, I know they might bid that player up that high. But sometimes too, like I'll look at the table and see what's available outside of that next running back. Like there's still Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, who I like, Ramondre Stevenson, who I like, James Conner, who seems like everyone hates, and I'm still in on. Najee Harris. But so many people, yeah. But so many people.
There you go.
Hate James
My
Conner.
first running back.
There you
Aaron
go.
Jones. I'll take that in a full PPR. I will take Aaron Jones. I get that he might not be there the whole time, but he'll be good to start the season at least.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be yet, but still. Doesn't take much to hand it off.
No.
Let's see. Alvin Kamara's on here now. I love me Alvin Kamara. Oh, I guess Mark does too.
Sitting on my hands.
We're at the part where I should probably cool it, but I never like to cool it. I like to, especially in a mock. I like to learn a lesson. I like to learn a little lesson in all these mocks. What am I still doing wrong?
Especially in PPR, like getting Alvin Kamara, like I like getting him with this potential upside. Thanks, Jay. I know. Still got the bag over here. I'm not messing around. There's a time. This is what I like to do. I'm the alpha. I like to control everything if I can.
There you go.
Dang. It's already my turn to nominate. I wasn't even paying attention.
The alpha over here.
Oh, I was just sitting on my throne here, laughing at it. Oh, someone's trying to take Baker Mayfield from me now.
It's a decent price for him.
Yeah, I like him exactly with Mike Evans too right now. So it's a solid play to have. Can't pass that up. Plus he signed. I think he's going to continue on still being good. I think he was just shafted in Cleveland. Then he went to the Carolina Panthers. And I got Baker Mayfield for $6 on my team. He is my QB too.
I like it.
I can't complain myself either.
Yeah, it pays to have the bag at the end. It does.
I still have the most money, even after winning it. So I'm at 55. Mark, you're at 31. You are.
That's true.
You are at, you're second. Nope, Adam's second. So we're top 3 having the most money in right now.
Well, that's our max. So
So
Ryan,
I'm
you
38.
actually
You got
got
63 right now.
Yeah.
So we both. You have one less. You have one less starter than I do at this point.
Yeah.
But again, this is a good time to when the right player comes around. This is the time where you wield the hammer. You pick. I think
Pick your spot.
you're gonna know who's gonna be bidding. Who's getting bid up here in the next few weeks. I'm not gonna reveal it until it comes around, but I have some ideas of who those players are gonna be. But yeah, in general, I think you're gonna have a.
And Jay is right. I was in my own head. I don't know it's my knob. Ooh, Nick Chubb. Fun story, but no, I'm out. It's amazing how many running backs are still there, though. Like, I'm looking at the running back list, and it's just amazing how deep it still goes. Like, it's still, I almost feel like the term crazy deep.
Oh, it's crazy deep right now.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It is nuts.
Yeah. If this was ever the year to do it, this is the year for zero RB. I think the value's just absurd.
Yeah, the thing that drives it for me is like, honestly, you can push a lot of the running backs up a little bit more now because a lot of them are still healthy. Obviously, like guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe not, but really, I think you can probably do well by waiting, and then once we know that they're healthier going forward, you're going to be happy. You're going to be happy to drop them at a little bit of a higher price. But again, if there's a huge supply, the demand gets less, and all of a sudden you might have some deals on your hands. So I think it's still kind of the top or the bottom.
Yeah.
And I got my backup quarterback now.
There you go.
And Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll actually need him while he's still playing, but let's just hope. Well, I don't want to hope for injury or a hope. Let's hope that let's hope that JJ McCarthy takes his time recovering. Let's say that. I'm not hoping for the injury; it already happened.
Right.
And now we're at the point where I'm just
spending to get rid of it. Fill that lineup. You're gonna be the first one to fill your lineup.
I'm spending like hell. I got one more. I got one more to fill, but I'm okay with it being, my max is 7. Could it be 7? And then I go 1 all the way to the bench. We'll learn that lesson tonight. Again,
I'm almost time to actually start doing that in auction leagues. Just building up my starting lineup, most money. Like, I'm almost thinking about pushing 90-95% of it. And then even higher than that. And just go dollar at the bench. Because it's going to be a waiver wire pickups anyways.
The more I think about it, yeah, it feels like if you're going like more than $2-3 on your bench, I get why you might want more depth, especially if it's a deep league, something like this. But really, like, after a while, like, a lot of these players shouldn't be more than $1.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
not, there won't be that many different makers left.
No, not at all.
And they'll all have something in their profile that makes you feel like, you don't want to spend up. So I'm happy where I am. I feel way better. Like, I feel way better about having Amari Cooper on my roster than spending like an extra $6, later in the draft to get another running back when I could maybe find one cheaper.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like Jones and Ramondre are a pretty good duo. They're probably going to do most of my work at the early part of the season. And then I'll just take upside shots the rest of the way at running back.
And
not quite zero RB for me.
No, you're almost like just RB. So you have between your two running backs, you have
it's mid. I think it's mid RB. Mid RB.
Boring RB.
Yeah.
Your two startings are $22. My two are $23. So we're within the same dollar range of our running backs right now.
I love your two. Honestly, like, I'd ride with that to start the season in any lineup that I have that you have. You know what I mean? Like, I have no problem with that.
No, I love it. I like how it turned out right now, looking at it.
So maybe it's mid RB. Now it's mid RB that we need to go.
It's time for another episode.
That's another episode, mid RB.
Yeah.
Mid RB strategy.
No, hey, like it's the other part of this. Hey, we drafted a lot of these folks more than once. So, and I think we all pretty much take it seriously. As long as we're not auto drafting. But it's when it comes to that, you also still want to play the game of like I want to be a little bit different, right? Every time. So I can't go 0 RB every time, so I gotta go 1 or mid RB. But that's the thing. This is like a game of poker. Like this was me. This looks like I tried to bluff, right? Where I said, okay, I'm gonna go 0 RB, and then at the last minute I said, okay, I'm gonna pay up and have at least 2 decent, probably running back 2s, running back 3s by volume, but really there's a shot that Aaron Jones could be a number 1 running back. There's a shot that Stevenson could be a number 1 running back. And that's what I'm looking for. Value with upside.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rome Odunze. He could be value with upside.
Yeah, you should spend some of that money.
That's what BJ Chill is doing. And Gump 72.85. I'm not really into it, but I mean I like Odunze, but he's more of a dynasty asset to me just because he's a wide receiver 3 there. Plus you have Cole Kmet there. So is he the 3rd option or is he the 4th option? And like where does like Keenan Allen all bounce in on that too? That's what another one that kind of makes me nervous. That whole offense. It's hard to wait. Like I want to wait and see, but I see what I've seen so far. It looks like DJ Moore was like the main one. Lost my camera.
Oh.
Everyone's
That's okay.
all out. Everyone's freaking out about Keenan Allen, saying he got
230 pounds.
230 to start the season.
Yeah. I mean, as a flex, like I love it. I mean, he's like, that's great value, I think, for him.
And Jay took him 102 in his rookie draft, so that's not surprising. Yeah, like dynasty rookie drafts, taking him that high, it's well worth it, especially if it's 1 QB. I've seen him go. I've seen many people take him over Neighbors, but I've also seen Marvin Harrison Jr. still go 1 overall. All right, let's see. We got James Conner going right now. Is this the build I'm going with? I think it's the build I'm going with.
Yeah, you can have him.
Thank you.
I like him, but you can have him for 11.
So you don't like him enough? Is what you're trying to say? I thought you loved him. You're like I'm a truther.
I'm in on him, but I've got a couple other guys I'm targeting. But that's a great deal for him. I mean, he's going to be their starter. I know he's got a little bit of an injury history, but that offense I think is going to be explosive, and I think he's going to catch a ton of passes. So yeah, $11 for Connor. That's a good deal.
I do not mind it. Let's see. DeAndre Swift too now. Welcome to the team. I got his jersey in my background.
I'm going to make you guys bid right now.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Rashee Rice.
Let's see how high he goes. Oh, it's already at 8. Yeah, I really like Rice this year. I think he could have an Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of a year, especially now with Hollywood Brown potentially missing the first couple weeks of the season. I think Rice is going to have a great year. Again, plays on Kansas City. You just want pieces of that offense. He'd be a great asset to have on your team. He's actually going for, let me see. He is, I just want to check what his AAV was before tonight. And then you can let me know if he
just went for 15 right now.
Just went for $15.
Okay, so his AAV before tonight was just over $5. So That's obviously
Yeah,
more than
I
he
think
was going
it's
for, but that's, I mean, again, I think that he was being totally undervalued before, and I think that's a great price for him. No
right.
problems with that at all.
I think right now it doesn't seem like he's gonna have any suspension given
Yeah.
to him unless the NFL really like comes out of nowhere at this point. So
Yeah.
yeah, even if he's, I don't see,
Even if
I
he's
wouldn't see him
suspended,
missing
even if
more than
he's
a couple
suspended.
games. I don't see him missing more than a couple games
Yep.
anyway. So I think he's always been kind of just underpriced, and people were, it's off-season news and there's
Mhm.
nothing to react to. So I feel like we overreact. But now that we're actually in July, or we're in August, now that we're actually in August, people are starting to realize that like, okay, nothing's really coming of this. The price that kind of came with Rice before, I think, was just general like, you know, unsureness,
Mhm.
of what's going to happen.
Yep. 100%.
Oh yeah, a nice job at him there getting Deshaun Watson at $9.
He was one of my flag plants for the year
I
for
thought we'll
in Superflex.
keep running you
In
up on him,
Superflex.
but I didn't want to be mean. Gotta be nice today to you.
No, I mean, I think he's got a lot of
That cost.
potential um, in Superflex. Like, I love him as my quarterback too for $9. I think the Browns are going to be super pass heavy this year. They've got a ton of weapons. One of, if not the best offensive line in the league. Watson's, he can run. He's going to get, probably 400 rushing yards and a handful of rushing touchdowns. So yeah, I really like it as my super flex.
Nice. I don't mind him either, and I'm just waiting to see how the clock goes here. Do I get it? And I got him.
Oh, Levis, nice.
Will put some mayonnaise in my coffee, man. I got Will Levis on my team. That offense is looking how it's piecing together. It's nice too because they didn't draft another quarterback this year, and they added Calvin Ridley to the squad. They signed Tony Pollard, so I think they're putting all their eggs in the basket of. And it's got Chris Godwin too. The eggs in the basket on Will Levis here to
Yeah, you
succeed.
have all
So
the money.
I'm all for it. Well, excuse me.
I'm just saying, you have all the money, so it's you're gonna get all the players right now. You're in a good spot right now. No, nothing to be ashamed of.
Did I just get Hollywood for $1? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, you
yes,
did.
You did.
Okay. Not going to complain.
No. And then Mark can get Xavier Worthy. Oh, for $2.
I'll take him for 2. Whew, that's fine.
Ooh, Khalil Herbert. He actually looked good in the preseason game.
He
Hard to
did.
see if he's the number 2 on that team behind Swift, or how's that going to go?
I wonder if they were using him a little as like trade
Trade
bait,
bait?
kind of showing him off. Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem to be pretty all in on Swift, so it wouldn't surprise me if he got traded.
Let's see here. What running backs are still available?
A lot of good ones.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So Adam, like your 0 running backs and actually look like a running back, like mid running back. So like everyone went high on dollar on the running backs quickly, and then the little ones are just sitting there now.
Yeah. See if I can get Zeus here.
So we have what 1, 2,
There we go.
3 complete lineups of starters. Everyone else is almost full. Adam finally has a running back in Zamir White.
Yay.
Superior TG nominates Calvin Ridley.
I
He's
think
actually
Ridley's
been
going to
looking
have
good
a
at
good
camp.
year.
Yeah, so do I. I'm thinking the same thing.
I think he's going to have a really good year, especially with Hopkins missing, potentially the first month of the season. But even still, I think Ridley is going to have a bounce back year, like a really good year.
To be honest, I just get a bad feeling.
Oh.
Like a bad
About
feeling
Ridley?
about Tennessee in general right now. Like like with Hopkins being injured, I know he's older, and I think we probably expect that Ridley might be the more of the number one there, at least to sort of start the season. But I'm just a little worried. I appreciate what they did with Levis. I really do. I appreciate them trying to sell out to get him to see what they have in that quarterback. But I also think they're really well positioned to not to just blow it up and start again next year. So I that's like that's the difference between the Vikings and the like a team like Tennessee for me. Like I feel like they are a team that still has like aspirations to look forward to um in their season that might allow them to like sort of weather the storm and still play out the year. Whereas like Tennessee, I feel like they could, if it doesn't work out right away, they could pack it in real early.
Yeah, possibly. I hope not, because I have Ridley and Levis for a combined of $12.
It's okay. We don't have to play this one out. Or too bad we don't have to play this one out.
So, all right, Mark. So you have a full lineup already, and when I say full lineup, I mean a full starting roster. And you have Josh Allen for 48, Aaron Jones for 11, Ramondre Stevenson for 11, Ayuk for 25, Diggs for 13, Tank Dell for 11, Evan Ingram for 11, Amari Cooper for 14, Xavier Worthy for $2, Lamar Jackson for 43. That is a heck of a starting lineup. I really like what you built here.
I feel great about it. I actually think I could have gone a little later and just waited on Ayuk, but we were talking about him, so I felt like, hey, why not take him?
Oh, I think we lost Mark. Oh, now you're coming back. You
You
faded.
got me? Sorry,
You froze.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, anyway, yeah, I think with Josh Allen and Lamar, that is my consistency. I kind of feel like for my team, and in general, I don't have. I think Evan Ingram is a really nice, consistent player, and Ayuk Diggs. Dell is a really nice nucleus of receivers. I actually think Mari Cooper as my wide receiver 4 is like I would be ecstatic to get Cooper as my wide receiver 4. Xavier Worthy at $2, and that's just like
Lost him that time. But I think he was gonna say Xavier Worthy is like free money. Looking at it from the outside in.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all the potential in the world. I mean, he's going to be like the field stretcher in Kansas City, especially now with Hollywood potentially missing a few games. Yeah, again, Kansas City is just one of those teams where you're not necessarily just bidding on the player, you're bidding on the offense as a whole. And some people, Worthy kind of seems to be a little bit of a polarizing player. Like some people are either completely in on him or completely out. But for $2, like there's nothing but upside with him. Like he's not going to like lose you weeks, but he could potentially like win you weeks.
Right. And I accidentally hit Lad McConkey. Oh, thank God someone else hit him because I did not want him. I wasn't trying to hit him. I was trying to hit someone else, and I hit McConkey. I was like, oh boy. I mean, he has the opportunity to lead the team in targets, but he's already injured. The hype for Josh Palmer is out there. I'd rather spend $2 on Josh Palmer than $2 on Lad McConkey.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, how effective is Herbert going to be? I mean, he's banged up too. He's not really known as a rushing quarterback, but he always gives you, a little bit. But now he's probably not going to be running like nearly at all. And we all know that Los Angeles is going to lean heavily on the run. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind him like as a bench player, but to rely on him as like a starter week in and week out, yeah, I'm probably not going to be too interested in McConkey.
No. Oh, and there I go. I got Brian Thomas for $5. I will take that all day.
Yeah. I think you still. Oh no, Superior TG still has he's got about $18 or $14. So he's got just a little bit more than you. But you guys have I think the second most. We're all pretty close.
I say I got $8 left to spend.
Yeah. Oh, and Be More Like Moses has. Oh, he had more, but now he's got 10. Yeah, we're kind of at that point of the draft now. Yeah, we're kind of at that point of the draft now where it's like you really gotta kind of get your guys. Like if you have money left over, like you're in a good spot because you can kind of pick off the guys you want. But
Exactly.
if you didn't leave yourself enough money, you could potentially be seeing all these guys fly off the board, and you're like, "Damn, why didn't I leave myself a couple extra dollars to get, this one guy that I really wanted?" It can walk a little bit of a fine line with it, but we're kind of nearing the end. I mean, we're kind of just filling out our bench spots for now. There's a few teams that have a couple stars that they still need, but I really like the way everyone drafted. I think everyone did a really, really good job. No one went crazy and spent like an insane amount of money on like any one guy, and I think there was a lot of value to be had. So, cheers all around, folks.
Yeah, this is 2 mock drafts we've done in a row at them live where they were actually enjoyable, and it's not like one guy. I mean, Dribble Assassin, yeah, he went auto, but his team still looked pretty good. He spent a little early. It was one of his first, types. I think it was probably his first time doing one of these type of drafts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lesson learned. Like, I mean, when I first did it, like, I didn't do these on purpose. Where I was like, oh crap, I spent all that money. Now what?
Right.
And then I left and I went auto. It's like, it's like, oh, okay, I see what you have to do now. Like, yeah, you can bet on every player you want, but at a certain point, you can't bet on everyone.
Yeah.
And it just takes the fun out of it. Well, try to see if we get Mark back here. He's trying to come back.
There he is.
There's Mark. Yeah,
we got it.
So you leave you leave your nice piano room. So you leave your nice piano room to go to a brick wall.
Yeah, my comedy club down here. That's how it works. And now you can't see me at all, can you?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, well, that's I guess that's how it goes. We'll make it work.
It happens to the best of us. I mean, it's just like the very first time we started podcasting, and the whole everything, all my stuff collapsed on me.
Ryan, should we do the wheel, the listener league, since we're getting pretty close to the end here?
Yeah, we can knock that out here because I mean, what do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots that really need to be filled. So yeah, while the draft's kind of finishing up, we can bring that up instead.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get that. Wheel of Names. Here we go. So as you see, we had, what do we have? Let me double check here real quick before I lose it. 11 people coming on it with all the secret words. So not bad for our first season out here.
I like it.
So I organized all the names. I put everyone's name in there, the times they put in. So it says press Control Enter. All right, actually, let's click this. Here we go. The first one in the Absolute Auction Listener League is Ryan Adams. Welcome to the Listener League, my friend.
I think he was one of the guys who did all 4. So
yep, I think so.
Glad that worked out.
Yeah, he was actually. So I removed all of him so he can't get in twice. All right. Let's see who's next.
Just give him 2 buttons.
So we have 9 total slots. All right. It's in the league. He had one thing in, so he made it. I almost feel bad because there's one other person who who had 4 and he just got it. Get the word of mouth. Hi there, Anthony. Welcome to the Listener League. That shrunk down really quickly, didn't it? All right, Jeff Frank, welcome to the List League.
Woohoo.
We're getting down there. There's be a lot of Ryans in here. All right, Ryan, it's your turn to nominate. What do you mean it's my turn to nominate? Ryan Fisher, welcome to the Listener League. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is slot number 6. And Jason Young, you're in. Welcome to the Listener League.
Jason.
One of the first ones that were made it in there. So, all right, we have 1, 2. Yep, I forgot one name. Give him a chance here still. All right, Jackson, welcome in to the league. All right, Nas made it in. As a fill-in, I had to put his name in at the last minute, but he made it in. And then we have 6, 7, 8. One more.
One more.
Who be, guys? Who do you think it's going to be?
Whew. No, good luck.
Brett Bates. Welcome to the Listener League,
All
my
right.
friend.
Welcome, welcome. Congrats to all the
Yeah,
winners.
this is gonna be fun getting to play with these guys.
Yeah,
Right?
super
Yeah.
fun.
So we'll go back to that. Yeah. So I'll send you guys the emails out tomorrow, and I'll ask for your guys' sleeper name and stuff, and possibly Twitter names, because that way we can get you guys in a group chat going, and we'll go from there. All right. So look out for those emails tomorrow. I'll be sending those probably in the morning. I have everyone's email address here. I think that's too easy, actually.
That was nice.
So to
And I'm
recap,
out.
you say you don't know?
No, sorry, I've spent all my money.
You're broke?
I'm broke. I'm broke and I'm out of roster spots, so I'm just done, really.
That's perfect. Adam's
Probably should have maybe not gotten Shakir and Curtis Samuel, but I'm not that worried about that so much right now. Again, I have at least running backs that I'm a little more confident in starting in early on. I've got a guy like Dowdle who I like, who I think can mix in. Blake Corum can maybe give me some RB1 weeks if Kyron goes down. So I probably imagine one of those two receivers, along with Worthy, one of them probably gets dropped if they're not really up to snuff early in the season, and eventually becomes a running back, or hey, maybe one of these other running backs too. So, or Darnold or somebody.
Right?
Yeah, we'll let the
All right,
waiver
so come
wire
back.
decide.
Exactly. So come back. We're just going to wrap it up here, guys. We'll go over everyone's team real quick. So we got Malik Moses. He's got Jared Goff, Brees Hall, Tony Pollard, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Jake Ferguson, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, and Geno Smith, with Kirk Cousins on his bench as of right now. Draft Hustle, Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Christian Watson, Kyle Pitts, David Njoku, Jonathan Brooks, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields as his team. It's an interesting combo getting the two quarterbacks here from Pittsburgh, because one of them could be good and one of them's going to be bad. Which one's going to be which, we don't know. So to have that QB field locked up, that's not a bad one to have locked up.
Yeah, and Fields could have league winning upside if he ends up taking over the job.
Yeah, if he learns
Right.
if he learns to quit fumbling that football too, like that's what killed him. Like he had, I think, 2 fumbles in the game, and he was a league leader in fumbles last season. So
Yeah.
it's not looking well for him. I mean, I guess I would read all the teams, but then a lot of people will be wondering what they spent on him. I'll post this in the description down below. So when you guys want to look at it, you'll be able to look at the draft board and everything, and let us know which one's your favorite. What do you actually guys like out of all of them? But yeah, but hour and 40 minutes. Yeah,
I like how B more like Mozart has rounded out his draft. I pretty sure in drafting with him a couple times, he's not really one to spend up a ton on quarterbacks in Superflex. I'm not 100% sure but I'm pretty sure he's usually doesn't spend up in that position. But I think Goff at 25 is really nice value. Geno Smith at $7. Really like that too, and then finishes out with Kirk Cousins. He's got a really nice receiving core, starting with Amon-Ra and Waddle, Brees Hall, and then he went hero RB, got some nice cheap options in Singletary, Moss, Pollard. That one's really nice to me if you're not going to prioritize quarterback. So like as the anti what I did, I actually kind of like that strategy.
Yeah, not a bad idea. All right, guys, good episode. Good draft, everyone. Happy to draft with you guys. Definitely have to do these more often. Well, especially next summer because we're getting close to the season here. So a couple weeks away from the season beginning. But, and Mark's back.
I finally got out of sleeper, so.
Hey, you know what? We might as well leave on this high note while you're still here, Mark. So for Mark, for Adam, I'm Ryan, and this is the Absolute Auction Podcast. We'll see you guys next week.